GSL.
What up, guys? It's time to go to the losers match now. MMA against SOS.
Pretty sick match. This is not what I expected in the loser match, but
I'm sure you're not alone in that one, or
no,
Joseph.
certainly. MMA was such a showing last season. SOS, one of the best players in the entire world. Recently, MMA has even been making an argument for being one of the best players around.
Yep.
Once again, for God, how many times is that going to happen in his career? But this should be just a really entertaining match. I think that these two are really well matched. SOS with all his mind games and just like his superb skill overall, and MMA being, you know, very good at the multitasking, very smart player as well. Will he be able to figure out what SOS is doing? I think no. I think SOS is going to outsmart him. I think SOS is going to beat him.
Yeah, I don't feel too good for MMA right now. I think the play style of SOS is very, very strong.
I look at MMA's earlier match day against Saxry, and I'm like, oh, I don't know. Like, it was written on the wall that he was going to Baneling roach you, and you still kind of like didn't pull back quite right, you know?
Yeah.
So I don't know if you're going to be able to do anything against such a sharp player like SOS, but we'll see. I mean, maybe just turns it on and tramples through. It's a possibility.
Well, let's see. The game's actually already loaded up. The map is going to be Exhibition Lost. So let's see what happens. In the upper right in the red, our Terran player. He is
SBENU MMA.
Serious face.
in the bottom left in the blue, our Protoss player. He is
Gene Green Wings SOS.
Face of a man that could have either just woken up from a nice nap on a lazy Sunday afternoon or be playing for $1 million. We don't know.
Yeah, he definitely doesn't have the face that allows you to really read the emotions very well.
Well, I think he just doesn't even have those types of emotions. He has different emotions. He gets like happy emotions mostly. He's like, I don't know, life's pretty good. Doesn't seem like someone that stresses too much, basically.
No, he certainly doesn't, does he?
No, he's chill. He accepted the percentages of build orders so long ago.
Yeah, he just seemes like the guy that would be the best at...
He almost plays it like a top poker pro or something.
Exactly. He's the best at taking a gamble.
Oh.
I mean, he gets so many build order wins, which is pretty crazy considering how many risks are involved in taking just, you know, attempted build order wins, but he just improves it.
Yeah. Well, every now and then it'll just get slammed.
Yeah, he'll be Shrek'd.
Well, that's the price you pay for being SOS. Like SOS, I don't think SOS can actually shore up his win rate any. Like I think like his win rate is like basically the best you can do with the way that he plays this game.
Considering, yeah.
I think.
No, I think you're 100% correct on that, Artosis. So we have the cybernetic score coming up now, and you know it's going to be a little bit longer here before we really get this to unfold too much. But you know, SOS is in the game, so expect anything. Don't see proxy anything just yet.
I do want to say that I actually, now this is going to sound weird, but I appreciate the fact that MMA is not going for any sort of Reaper play here.
Okay. That he's scouting here as well?
Yeah, like it's always good, I think, to scout the SCV and at least be like, all right, do you have 2 gases? Because I think that's super important to end up checking, which he actually didn't end up checking. But he sees Zealot here and 2 probes down here. Okay, he pretty much knows. But like the thing I want to point out is because I would normally always like highly suggest against anyone kind of cheesy or unpredictable to go for a Reaper, but in this case it's like SOS plays on a level above the Reaper. The Reaper isn't why SOS loses games almost ever.
Yeah,
right?
that's
like,
very true. He already has strats built around after the Reaper's gone.
Yeah, after or a way to prevent the Reaper or a way to punish the Reaper. You know, he's like almost too clever and too good for that to work as well, and I prefer when someone just brings the aggression to him.
You know, SOS is one of these guys, not only does he prepare so well for the current meta, but so well for the current player on that map. His execution's pretty solid too, but really, I mean, it's just about the way he reads the future of the game.
I definitely don't call him like the best micro or something like that.
No,
Definitely
no,
not.
that's not. He's not partying or something like that. But yeah, he just really knows how to prepare and you know, see 20 steps down the road where you should end up and where he should end up if you're reacting based off your intellect and your understanding of the matchup. It's crazy. It really is,
dude. We're watching Cloak Banshee against Protoss.
Yeah, how long has it been since we've ever seen this?
This just doesn't happen anymore.
There's a reason for this, and it's because it's way outside the meta in an attempt to pull an SOS on SOS. But SOS, it just so happens, is going for a Robo, which means SOS might just completely shut this strat down and make a fool of MMA.
Yeah, that's definitely possible. Normally, like Cloak Banshee, because you kind of don't expect it, even if you have the Robo, you normally don't have like 2 observers at home in position when the Banshees come. So generally the Banshee will actually end up doing some damage anyways. I guess that's just the nature of Cloaked Banshees. They're just going to do some damage. How much damage is the big question here. I'm excited though. I'm like really stoked that he's going for this.
So, yeah, I guess we're going to get to cast this once in the next few years, and this is the moment.
Is he going to go Siege Tank as well? That would be cool.
Well, you know, it would make sense if he's going to expand off this. He'd probably put a Siege Tank on the high ground.
Yeah.
However, it seems to me that SOS should just naturally cancel this build, right? I mean, he has Stalkers ready for a medevac. It just so happens to be a Banshee. Book's done, by the way.
Let's see. He's going to have to throw a Nexus Cannon down immediately. He doesn't have the Observer right here.
The misclicks, though.
Yeah, that was definitely... Ooh, another one. Just slight misclicks there.
He might even send these probes back now.
And look, this is going all right, I have to say. 6 kills. Let's get out.
So close.
Oh
my god, oh my god, oh my god.
You waited a little bit too long there.
Second observer there does spot the tank. That's going to make Immortals quite strong for the time being. This is looking like sort of like the 1-1-1 in a way. Now, he got that Banshee. Very important. He actually picked that guy off.
Yeah, that is important.
And here comes the second Banshee now in here. Now, Nexus Cannon was still active for a second there. But, you know, one of the reasons why you don't see this build from MMA very often is this was solved in the first few months. I guess probably the month after the beta was done. Or not, I mean a month after the game was released. Because people were still doing a few weird things like this. Marine Siege Tank pushes. Obviously the Widow Mine's now incorporated here, but a solid Protoss army just pushes out and kills this as long as the Banshee doesn't have it stapled in his main. And there's already one Banshee that's been killed.
Yeah, when you think about it, like a Stargate, it's like, okay, well, Phoenix counters this pretty hard. Well, Robo, that's super common. Observers do pretty well against this. Then Blink, it's like, do you even have enough to stop the counterattack if he goes Blink?
Exactly. Now, he's going to go DTs behind this, which is interesting since a Raven's already been made. And a Raven was already made when this build was still used.
Yeah. Let's see how he does with this push, like what he can get done. It's kind of interesting the way that he's going about executing this. I don't know what he's hoping to get done here. Not a whole lot is like within Siege Tank range.
Yeah, he might just want to open this up, but
yeah. Well, this can just be like a pressure thing you do, where you're like kind of scaring them into reacting, like maybe overreacting against it.
Oh my God, he got the second Banshee. That's huge. That means that the counterattack is not going to be really something that can be denied. For SOS. SOS can push, and Terran has to respond. There comes the Immortal now. Oh, it's not in range.
All right.
That is one thing that did go MMA's way here, the blunder there by SOS.
He does have that Warp Prism in the main base now of his opponent as well. Nothing here to hit air quite yet, just kind of scouting what's going on. Sees a turret being made in that main mineral line and the natural, and that has to make him a bit sad because his Dark Shrine is just about to finish.
Do you think he should have peeked in there with that? Or should he made the DTs first? Because
I'm okay with the scout, but if he hadn't, would those turrets have been made?
Yeah, that's what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
See, he's going to make DTs. You sort of have to make the DTs after you make the Dark Shrine.
It feels bad if you don't.
If you tech to it and then you don't get anything, I mean, it's pretty bad, man. So now here comes the counterattack into what is not a natural Terran army. for this matchup. So this may do a good amount of damage anyways. DTs just in the main can do so much damage, even if you can see them. If they're, you know, well, I guess they won't be one-hitting Marines since the armor upgrade's about to be done, but I don't know. Let's see where the game goes from here. This is another game that we just basically never get to cast anymore.
Yeah, it's cool how this game has developed, really. It's always interesting to see, like,
oh my god,
how weird SOS's armies are early and mid-game.
Now we have a drop over here. I don't know if there's an observer in here. I don't believe I see one.
Yeah, I think you're right. Good blink.
Yeah, great blink.
3 probes, so still all right. And he had to do a whole warp in there. He needs to bring an observer back. I would say that was still a very good drop. Yeah, can't really do much. His army like dies so easily just points. Oh, look at this stuff he's doing.
This brings me back to the good old days, man.
Yeah. Those little pickoffs. That's fantastic.
Now, MMA is at about a 20 supply lead here, so I mean, that's something you got to consider. By the way, nice snipe on the medevac. But this kind of unnatural unit composition, whoa, he's going to move out with 4 medevacs. I guess this would have been a nice moment for SOS to dive back in.
He's making a Reaper too, by the way, which is interesting.
Yeah, that really is.
It's a very late Reaper. Yeah, I think that MMA, or SOS will have enough to hold on against whatever. You know, at the moment, we actually don't have a 3rd command center. So even if MMA does like a little bit of damage, like cancels the 3rd or something, I still think SOS is fine. He's getting all the right tech roots and whatnot. He's getting his Colossus, but this could do a lot of damage.
Yeah, there's really nothing to defend here. 1 Colossus is not going to cut it. He could definitely get the Nexus. Well, you know, 2 might make a little bit of a difference, but he could definitely get some key structures depending on where he target fires.
Yeah, does use that Nexus cannon as opposed to anything else, and loses the Nexus. And that was only for like 2.5 medevacs full of units. Okay.
And he can actually go to the 3rd now.
Ooh, that's a nice move.
Not a nimble unit comp. Okay, but he's got defense here.
Yeah, that
in fact, he could hold that. Yeah, he could hold that, no problem. So that you know, group of medevacs and you know, holding Marines and Marauders is sort of stuck down there at the bottom, which isn't. I mean, it's not great, but it's not necessarily bad since Protoss is pinned. Plus, if he's going to push down here on the bottom right, you can, as this battle occurs, then boost the medevacs in to reinforce this. Whoa. Oh, God. Crazy. Now looks like drop these DTs over here.
Of course, they are one-shotting, or are they really? Not quite
one-slashing SCVs.
And some point defense drones do go up here. Very nice usage of point defense drone there, blocking a lot of Stalker shots. And in fact, is he going to get this Nexus? Looks like he's trying to actually fight units at the moment.
Yeah, I believe that Nexus is it's low, but it's not low enough to actually dive on it.
Okay, he does end up getting 2 of those Colossus there at the very last second.
But there's a lot of SCVs being killed here by these DTs.
Yeah.
And it almost seems as though MMA didn't notice until just now.
That is a pretty big deal. A lot of very red SCVs there, as you can see. The +1 attack didn't finish until a little bit later on that drop.
So he's going to get out with a Warp Prism now. But,
you know, if MMA had killed that Nexus, I'd be feeling a lot better about his spot right now. But his SCV count has been lowered dramatically.
DT now going to come up here again for some more SCV kills. Again, this is a this actually looks a little bit like a Brood War TVP, not with the unit comps, but the way that they're engaging each other. They have the DTs coming here on a 2-base Terran and hit these, you know, hit these SCVs while Terran's doing these, you know, steady pushes.
Yeah.
But Protoss is living through it. It's sort of like a PM Brood War where the Protoss is slowly winning.
You know, I feel like overall StarCraft II games have gone more and more towards looking like Brood War games anyways over the past past bit. The best players are getting so good at these multitasking situations. They're like, well, you know, you're attacking me here and I'm going to take some damage, but if I harass you a bit over here, then should be fine. Well, looks like we do have another drop there by SOS. A little bit of micro battle going on. In the meantime, another DT doing a lot of damage there in MMA's main base.
MMA is really running out of steam here.
Yeah.
You know, he's ran out of scans. And these attacks over here aren't really doing anything. And I think the inevitable counter push here from SOS is coming. These medevacs are getting low on HP. I mean, this is getting pretty ugly, man.
Yeah, with this many SCVs lost, you don't want to be scanning. You want to be using mules. So these DTs are doing even more damage than it looks like, really.
Well, SOS is going to come in here for a pretty heavy engagement. This is a lot of Zealots and Stalkers with Colossi combined with that. By the way, 1DT running by. GG MMA with strats from 1999. Bringing it way old school. So seriously, one of the oldest TVP builds we see here.
Yeah, that was like
out.
What was this, 1985? What kind of build is that, MMA?
This is crazy, man. We just don't see builds like that. We haven't seen builds like that in a long time. I had to like really go back into the early days of StarCraft II, try to remember what those games looked like. And funnily enough, by the way, SOS responding perfectly.
Yeah, you know, I think that even the Banshees did like okay-ish damage. The map may not be the best map for it. Like his escape out of the main base, he got trapped with that Banshee. If that Banshee had made it all the way out, maybe, you know, he can continue to harass a little bit. But overall, the DTs really messed with MMA. The DTs were really the winning move from SOS when you think about it.
It really was.
Because he was losing probes and MMA was doing completely fine on 2-base.
Well,
but
you know, here's the thing, man. If you get that Raven, then you can DT to defend and DT to attack.
Yeah.
And then Terran just burns out on scans. It's really easy to get a few DTs in there and get a turret.
If you don't get a third CC, you just don't have scans.
Yeah, you just don't have scans. It's 2-base versus 3-base in that moment. DTs are basically always going to pay for themselves in moments like that. So, I mean, really good job. Bonnie Research Station is going to be map number 2 here. SOS with the lead, but can MMA turn this around? MMA using very old school, kind of out-of-whack builds that have basically been discarded by most pro gamers in an attempt to throw SOS off. SOS responds perfectly, however. But what if MMA brings something a little bit more modern? Maybe we'll see a different game. Maybe we'll see a win here for MMA. In the bottom center in the red, he is
SBENU MMA.
And in the north, in the blue, he is
Gene Green Wings SOS.
Okie dokie. I want to see more wonky play. I like the DT usage of SOS, by the way. So often he just throws that Dark Shrine down. Ahead, behind, even, whatever. He just is like, well, I know how to use this unit very well, so, you know, I can find damage.
Okay, so we have this probe coming out now.
Yeah.
And what is he doing exactly with this? This is not a normal scout path. I mean, he might have just been checking to see if maybe MMA was going to do something sneaky. This is definitely a map that SOS can be tempted into doing a quick expand. So when you're, you know, on a map like that, you certainly do want to check for anything sneaky that the opposing player is doing. Let's see if the probe goes all the way inside or if he tries to hide something.
You know, I think this is just an elaborate scout pattern.
Okay.
Oh, second pylon before gas. Well, some people do that sometimes, but I think it might just be an elaborate scout pattern because, like, you don't have to get to the Terran base this early, or as early as going straight down, rather. So he just kind of checks everything and says, all right, I may as well cross my T's, dot my I's, you know. Cross my lowercase j's, you know, whatever.
Well, we see the probe just peeking in here. Everything looks very standard right now from MMA. I definitely don't think we're going to see any Banshee play again. That is, I think I've been more confident to say that than almost anything I've, you know.
Yeah.
My entire career. I don't believe you see
I'll
use
go
that
with you on that. I don't
more
think
than once in a best of 3, especially when it fails. But even when it works.
Maybe against Zerg and Terran, but
no, not with this matchup. Not these two players.
Yeah. Especially with how popular Stargates are. It's like,
yeah. So we have the CC coming down now. And it looks like SOS is going to expand just a little bit later than this, but not enough to really have too much of an impact. It looks like that Nexus should be starting momentarily here.
Yeah, he made the Zealot first, so he wants to be able to go down there, see if he can put on a little bit of pressure with it. So it slows the Nexus a bit, but
and the great thing about this is the Mothership Core comes right out as the Reaper's here. So the Reaper doesn't really get any kills, but that Zealot is still headed down there a little bit over halfway across the map. Nice job zoning out that Reaper.
Factory on the way. Zealot going to get a pretty strong scout down, maybe even do some damage, we'll see. Cause some lost mining time, perhaps. Get in there before any Marines are made. Look at this. Ooh. Lucky dance. If that hadn't danced that way, it delays the factory even with this. Look at this. Oh, good micro.
Yeah, great micro, actually.
Really good micro from both sides.
So this is just a way to punish the Terran if they did send the Reaper out, because the Reaper's not there to defend normally.
Yeah.
How far is that CC from being done? No, okay, he's not going to delay that. I thought, wouldn't it be nice if he did get a kill on that SCV and just slow that down by a couple seconds?
Yeah, but I would say with one kill and like that much lost mine time plus the repair time, that was a reasonable Zealot, absolutely. And
Sure,
you got
sure.
like a huge scout off of it.
Yeah.
Sees like how much gas there is,
Take a look at this,
the
man.
finishing time of the factory, everything.
Going to send this Mothership Core in there.
Yeah. And there could have been an SCV there for
Yeah, there could have been for sure.
In fact, he was probably like, huh, well, I'm glad you're not good enough to have an SCV there yet, so that way I know I'm going to win this match. And then if you have an SCV there, he's like, oh, I'm glad you're good enough to have an SCV there so I get another
win
kill.
this match.
Yeah.
Okay, the Reaper's coming up now. And it looks like he wants to just do a little bit of scouting here.
You know that saying, you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't?
Sure, absolutely.
That's really, I mean, that was, whoever thought of that traveled back in time from knowing who SOS was in StarCraft II, no doubt.
Or maybe they made a time machine and traveled into the future and then hit it very well.
Ooh.
Got that phrase and went back in time and used it.
Yeah, I guess that could be.
There's a lot of ways we could spin this.
Why would you go back in time, though, when you had StarCraft II in the future?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you know, that's what that guy did with that book in Back to the Future, right? The Almanac, he sent it back in time.
Help his former self.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Okay, now the Phoenix is going to come up here, do a little bit of scouting.
Building a tech lab there with the starport. Not for a Banshee, don't worry. Well, looks like... I wonder if he's actually going to go like Phoenix Colossus. You know, SOS is definitely the type of player that I wouldn't get too surprised if he went like Phoenix Charge.
It's not a bad build, actually. And
no, it's totally fine. You can definitely use it.
Yeah, MMA is going for a bit of a neutral macro expand build here. Just teching up steadily, enough for defense, not enough for offense here while he takes his third base. Mind you, before SOS does.
Yeah. I do want to mention, I like getting some Phoenixes on this map, even if you don't want to commit to like a full like 12 plus Phoenixes and then also Colossus build. Just having some, because the drop area is so wide with that back natural in the back of your main.
Yeah.
That it's really, really, really hard to defend it all with gateway units. And the thing is, even if you make 4 observers, that's not enough to spot all the drop area.
That's true.
So, you know, the Phoenixes kind of can shore you up against that. So it's kind of cool. I like it.
Okay, well, he's going to have to back out now. Good job with the Phoenixes there, though. And this is going to be a little bit passive here. I think they're both going for great builds, but it's especially for the way this game's going, nobody can really punish the other one right now. And that means, you know, it's going to be a little bit before we see too much more action.
Yeah, definitely the case. We need medevacs, that stim upgrade, that +1, that combat shields before MMA can actually try to do anything. And then he has to be very careful, too, because if he's up there and SOS has a better army, he loses a lot in the chase back home because of those Phoenixes.
Yeah, that's very true. Phoenixes do not allow for an easy exit.
Phoenixes, like, really steer the game towards Deathball in this matchup.
For sure.
Like,
yeah.
it becomes Deathball versus Deathball very quickly because that's just, like, that's how you should play.
Now,
when they're in play.
Terran is going to be able to go on the map now with Stim finishing and Combat Shields finishing. medevacs out, this is really where Terran gets to claim map control. Until that moment, it was actually SOS that had map control, as you guys were seeing there with the Phoenixes.
Well, right now we do have some pylons going up, it looks like. Ooh, that was a really good Widow Mine hit.
Yeah, just has to make sure these Phoenixes get out, though. If they get out, they're all still going to get energy. They can still take out stuff in the middle of the map.
Yeah, they're still very useful, but getting that much damage on it is nice. And we do have just kind of the tech tree being completed by SOS. Got to get that blink upgrade going. Got to have the forge, get the +2 armor coming up too. Adding a lot of gateways right now. Really wants to get his macro rolling.
And this is really where we see the, oh my god, this is huge.
That's painful.
Imagine if those Phoenixes actually been picked off there. Look at this. Look at this, Ninja Phoenixes. Are you kidding me? They just slip right through there. Nice. By the way, Blink coming here. Thermal Lance almost done. And really, SOS, so nimble with those, just punishes any movement there from MMA. If MMA is not babysitting that army the whole time, SOS is going to shut it down.
Well, second starport does get started here from MMA. No big surprise there. Definitely going to want to get into more Viking production going forward. But second forge coming up for SOS, really getting ready for that macro game as well. Already added his gateways, so he's going to have plenty of production also. Is he going to take the gold base as his fourth? I think he may. Yeah, I think he's going to, Tasteless. If he can get that mining, that's pretty sick.
Yeah, that would be pretty huge.
It's a little bit far away from everything.
Not sure if that's what he wants to do or not, but
if you look at his spread of how he's scouting here, he's got a pylon way on the right to watch for drops. He's got a pylon way on the left to watch for drops. He's got an observer in the middle.
He might just want to power on 3 bases and push too.
Yeah, it's a possibility, but
because there is that final tech phase for Terran where they just have to start getting the Vikings to kick in. I guess Ghosts really are the final tech phase, but they need to get enough Vikings, and especially when you see Phoenixes that have been pretty effective at reducing the account of medevacs and everything else, sometimes you can get a good push in there.
By the way, something I actually missed earlier on, he actually went attack upgrades before armor upgrades, SOS did. So that's really kind of cool to see. Really focusing on attack, which is something you don't see too often against Terran. But
yeah, well, I think he wasn't going to depend on Zealots early, which might have been the key reason for that.
I think you're exactly right about that.
The armor upgrade's only good if you have Zealots.
Absolutely the case. Attack is simply better unless you have Zealots as a big part of your composition.
Yeah, as a huge part of that. So, I mean, just keep in mind, Stalkers can actually pick off, for instance, Vikings much easier now.
Yeah.
Stalkers do a lot of damage to Vikings pretty quickly. So
Colossus shreds stuff more quickly also.
Yeah.
Well, those Phoenixes really being worth their weight in gold so far this game.
I think this is going to be one of these games where it really just does come down to how the armies engage, and we've had the boys been pulled.
Oh, boy.
Who let the boys out? It was MMA. What a silly question. Haven't you guys been watching? So this will all come down to this one engagement, really. Sometimes it's a trade and then things start to normalize, especially if Protoss has to pull probes to defend. Yeah. Other times, one side just runs over the other.
Well, he is actually going to have 6 Colossus here, 2 Archons. That's pretty scary. 20 Zealots with charge? Let's see where these EMPs hit. Well, that's pretty good.
Yeah, probably the best possible place for those EMPs to hit. Now, the Zealots are coming forward. Remember, the armor wasn't upgraded as early, so they should be obliterated pretty quickly. The Phoenixes actually drawing some of that Viking fire, and that might be what wins this battle here, as we still have 4 Colossi down here. MMA's army has been just completely annihilated. Yeah, we had a good few seconds where those Vikings were not hitting Colossi, taking out a few Phoenixes, and really this does come down to the Colossi volleys getting off before the Colossi are picked off. With 4 Colossi remaining, that's it. GG. SOS is going to go on against Saxery.
Yeah, for that
second final best of 3. Cool.
I do want to say also, I think that MMA could have waited maybe for just a few more Vikings against 6 Colossi. Like, I felt like he was just slightly light on Vikings. You got to really erase him, because especially SOS went +2 attack. Those Colossi were doing insane damage.
I don't really know if that strat is good against the build SOS did. SOS was playing about as conservatively as MMA was. There wasn't any moment where, SOS was lopsided in his army,
Yeah.
count.
I think it was like pretty even. He hit some nice EMPs.
Yeah.
Like the engagement even started favorably for him. It's just like that many Colossi got way too many volleys. You're right. The Vikings misfired a little bit. You got to be really on top of taking out Colossi specifically, unless you want to do something like kite Phoenixes a little bit and then go after the actual engagement. But yeah, well played by SOS there.
Yeah.
And MMA unfortunately not going to get deep this season.
Kind of a shock, I think, to everybody. MMA is the first knocked out today. We have one more match after this break. It's going to be SOS against Saxery for the final spot in the round of 16 of the GSL Code S.